Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, I'm going to be comparing the old Duramax to the new Duramax to see if it's worth upgrading to the new one. Before we begin this video though, a huge shout out and thank you to the Large Miller Chevy here in Murray, Utah for giving me some time with both of the trucks. I'll include a link to their inventory in the description down below so you can check out what they have currently. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money, the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Now, the old Duramax is a 6.6 liter turbo diesel V8 that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. It puts out 445 horsepower and then 910 pound-feet of torque. The new Duramax is also a 6.6 liter turbo diesel V8 that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. However, it puts out 470 horsepower and then 975 pound-feet of torque. Now, before we move forward with the comparison, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. Now, I do need to mention some imperfections with this comparison. This truck right here is the last generation Silverado, and well, it's a high country, which is a fully loaded truck. This over here is an LT, which is more of an entry-level package, so not exactly the best comparison when it comes to packaging. However, both trucks are 3500 series, so that's good. But the High Country has a 6'4" box, whereas this LT has an 8-foot box, so it's also going to kind of mess things up a little bit. However, if you look at the leaf spring situation in the trucks, it's, well, looks identical to me. And so this leads us into payload capacity. So this is the High Country truck. 3709 is the payload capacity. And then you guys can see with our conventional towing, right, 20,000 pounds. If you do gooseneck, you're 21,200 pounds. And then something to note, the gross vehicle weight rating of this truck is 12,100 pounds. Now, if we look at the new Duramax, you guys can see 4,206 pounds is the payload capacity. Conventional, 20,000 pounds. And then gooseneck, 21,510 pounds. Now this truck has a gross vehicle weight rating of 12,250 pounds. Now the next part I find absolutely fascinating. So the old Duramax is a $9,750 option, whereas the new Duramax is $9,490. So the new Duramax actually costs less than the old Duramax in terms of the engine option itself. Let's drive them and see if they drive any different. Setting off in this LT with the Duramax, and this one is a long bed. Pretty cool setup for a pickup truck. Now, one thing I love about the Duramax is just how smooth the powertrain is. The 10-speed definitely helps out with that quite substantially, but it's more than just the 10-speed. It's just how this powertrain builds power and everything. It's really solid. And, well, I can actually get up and move again. So far, our fuel economy is not the greatest because we've just been sitting here waiting with traffic. But yeah, this thing's got so much power. It's really solid. And the ride quality with the Silverado HD, again, this is a 3500 long bed. Surprisingly good for what this truck is. You think that it would just be like crazy bouncy all over the place, and then it does bounce a little bit, but you know, for the most part, for an HD truck, it's pretty dang daily drivable. It's way more daily drivable than the trucks back in the day that had, I mean, this has independent front suspension and everything. Like back in the day, right, trucks had solid front and rear axles and leaf springs front and rear. I mean, that's when ride quality was real tight. Okay, so we're about to go over the train tracks here, so I guess we'll see the ride quality with this. Pretty solid. Man, this thing's got some torque, let me tell you. It's seriously impressive just how much power this truck has. And you know, that'll lead me into summing things up here with this Duramax LT with the long bed. So I guess emphasis on the Duramax side of things. I'm trying to get as much seat time as I can with the new Duramax to really just kind of get a feel for the powertrain, because you know, we've got the new Power Stroke out. Ram hasn't really done anything with their powertrain in a little bit, so, but it'll still be interesting, you know, to see the comparisons between them. But the point that I'm trying to make here is I'm a big fan. I feel like what I see online a lot is people saying, oh, it doesn't even have 1,000 pound-feet of torque. And it's like, buddy, anything over 800 pound-feet is like overkill. Like, this already has so much torque. And again, the biggest thing is like the towing capacity. This has a really solid towing capacity, both gooseneck and bumper pull. So overall, I'm a big fan. I will say this LT package is kind of interesting. I've noticed that truck makers have been kind of slightly stripping down their middle line. Like the LT, right, it's middle of the line. But I mean, this, when I think of middle of the line, this doesn't exactly like feel like middle of the line, because, and this isn't just a Chevy thing. Ford's doing the same thing, Ram's doing the same thing. Like, I feel like this should come standard with dual zone climate, heated seats, and power sliding rear window. That's all I'm asking for. That's it. I feel like it's not too big of an ask. But aside from that, I love the new Duramax. Let me know what you guys think about this truck. Let me know if you agree with the whole standard equipment thing. That's just my personal opinion. Okay, over the course of the short driving route, that's about 3 miles here with the new Duramax, you guys can see 9.3 miles per gallon. Okay, so setting off in the old Duramax. Now, I know that it might seem weird that I'm doing the new one first and then driving the old one second, but I thought it'd be interesting to go from new to old, because I always find it like fun to see if I feel like I'm missing out if I go back to the previous version of something. And sorry, I gotta fix the GoPro a little bit here. But here's what I've noticed so far is with this old Duramax, it's a little bit noisier. Like just the and again, this is a high country. The other one's LT, so like this is, you know, has more sound deadening and everything, but still the powertrain itself is louder. So I find it interesting that the new one's quite a bit quieter. And then when it comes to power delivery, there's a much bigger difference than I thought there would be, honestly. So here's what I'm noticing is the new one, again, it has more torque, but it also like, it feels like the torque comes on at lower RPMs. Like this, I feel like I have to get into it more to get the truck up and moving. And so and also like how the transmission performs and the overall powertrain, like this doesn't feel smooth as the new one. The new one just feels, again, it feels more powerful and it feels smoother as well. I didn't think there was gonna be as big of a difference as there is. And this is fascinating so far. Okay, so we are now gonna get our acceleration here with the old Duramax. Same amount of throttle input. Yeah, you can definitely perceive the torque difference between them. I mean, this is still really quick, but yeah, the new one, I mean, it's smoother, it feels more powerful. There's actually a perceivable difference. That's really cool. So, yeah, that gets us into summing things up, and then I'll obviously at the very end I'll show what the final fuel economy number is with this one, so you guys can compare that to the new Duramax. Again, the driving route, it's the same distance. I know it's not like the best fuel economy test, but like it's better than nothing, right? Anyways, when I came into this review, I thought this was going to be, you know, I'd basically finish this off by saying that, yeah, you know, the new one's got more power on paper, but like whatever. But there is actually a pretty big difference. So the new one is quieter, the gear shifts are smoother, the power delivery is better. It seems like you get more torque at lower RPMs, and then acceleration feels better as well. Again, 445 horsepower versus 470, right? It's not like it's a huge difference, but it's a difference. Now when you look at like the towing and payload and all that kind of stuff, right, the new truck isn't necessarily more capable from that side of things, but if you pair the fact that it's just as capable as this old version with the fact that it's smoother, more low-end torque, you can imagine that your towing situations are going to be a lot more comfortable with the new truck, right? You're not gonna have to get in the throttle as much, and it's just gonna handle it all a lot better. And again, since it's quieter, it really is quieter. Since it is a little bit quieter, actually I don't know what's happening here. Okay, never mind, we're good. Since it is a little bit quieter, then again, I think that'll also kind of add to the experience. Let me know if you guys think if the new one's worth upgrading to. I think the fact that the new engine costs less on the MSRP, and the fact that it, at least on paper, not just on paper, but like in real life and on paper, just performs better than the old one, I'd say that, yeah, it's definitely a bigger jump forward than I initially expected. And so I think for a lot of buyers, especially if you're towing with the truck, I think you're gonna like the new one quite a bit more than the old one. But still, let me know which one you'd pick. And well, apparently the old one's a little bit more economical, 10.1 miles per gallon over our little driving route.